I'm measuring these uprights to 88.5 because as I need 83 inches for the door that I have. So 83 plus 1.5 for the board on top of it, plus 5.5 for the header, plus another 1.5 for the top plate, and then there's going to be yet another top plate, which brings the entire wall to 93 inches total. And so at 93 inches total, it gives me a 3-inch overlap over the bottom, the flooring and whatnot. And then I'm going to have flashing around the bottom, obviously. But I can't go any lower than that because I wouldn't have enough room to put a header over a door and the headers over the windows, and I want them all to be kind of the same level. Therefore, these are 88.5 plus, the 1.5 for the top, 1.5 for the bottom, which makes it 91.5, and then I'm going to have a top plate of another row of 2x4s at 93 inches. And yes, I'm just using a circular saw to cut these. I don't have a miter saw, so I'm just doing it the old school way. You'll notice too that I'm using a black marker to mark these. I don't use a carpenter's pencil. Reason why, because I'm 57 years old and it's hard enough to see the lines as it is. And I find that with this particular marker, it's nice and solid. I can see it very easily, but it's also the exact width of my saw blade. So all I got to do is make sure that that black mark disappears and I get a perfect cut, or as close as I get to a perfect. Apologize for the audio. I probably just had to voice over and post. Reason being my microphone died. Unbeknownst to me, they're not expensive microphones. They don't tell me when they're dying, but Anyway, so once I've got these together, and I'm not sure that I actually do have them together enough, then I'm going to nail them together so they're good and straight. Okay, perfectly even. And unbelievably level. Who knew? This is the middle of May in New Brunswick, Canada, in case you're not familiar. And it's unbelievably hot. I would normally never wear shorts this time of year. So, sorry about seeing my legs. But I'm sorry. It's like, I don't know how hot, but hot enough. There's a good breeze, but there. Now I have to nail down my wall, obviously. There we have it. It's the hum of the air compressor right behind you. First wall. This one was simple because there's no windows or openings or anything in it. This is the back wall. And I'm doing the identical wall on this side. For now, there's no windows or anything in it because this is really just a storage shed at this point. I might decide later to put windows if we turn it into something else, but yet to be determined. What it will have, though, on that side is an extra 4-foot wall with 2 smaller windows that I got for nothing, to give some light in here and some air, and just because it's easier to do it now. So that's my next step, is this wall. It's probably the next time you'll see on this video. That wall should be up, and then my west-facing wall I'll build inside of here. It does have a window. I've got a fairly big window. It was actually a window that we took out of our house and replaced when we replaced all the windows and stuff in it. So I'll have the opening, the header, and everything on that, and that to go up. And then my front wall with the door and another smaller window. And then I got to build the 4-foot walls that go on top of the 8-foot wall. That'll be interesting. I think what I'm going to do, I was thinking about this, I'm going to build those in 8-foot sections as well. So they're 4 feet by 8 feet, and I'll build them right here on the floor. And then those won't be too hard, 4 feet by 8 feet of 2x4s to lift up and put in place. That's my theory anyway. We'll see how it goes. Looks like I'm racing these dark clouds this afternoon. I'm going to see how far I can get. I don't mind a little bit of sprinkles here and there, but I don't like holding on to, a plugged-in circular saw or having my air compressor out in the pouring rain or anything like that. So, well, see how we do. So, this psychotic kind of scratching and calculations and things like that is how I figured out how to put the far wall together. They don't look the same, but you get the general idea. I have made a mistake, though. Bad mistake. I thought I had everything done right. I even measured the top and bottom plate separately because, not trusting my own construction here. It was actually pretty much dead on as it was. And then I got excited and I forgot I had to put in, I don't know what you call those. They're just studs, but underneath the window, there's a big window that goes in here. And then I thought, I'll be smart here. And I'm going to measure 16 on center for everything so that when I put my 4x8 sheets of sheeting up, everything will line up and all the nailing will be right. So I did that. But I measured starting from here, which is how I would measure the other walls, which are simple because they're just 16 on center and nothing else. But I measured from here instead of considering the outside wall, which is where I should have started measuring for the 16 on center bit. So I'll figure out how to overcome that. This is the back side of the building anyway. Nobody's really going to see this ever. So I might just be putting the sheathing on 16 on center like I originally planned, and then cut some strips or something on the end. Not sure. I'm gonna have to fudge that one, but I'm not really building this, and I'm not putting in more studs for that 16 on center stuff. This will have to do. So I should have lots of leftover when I cut this out anyway. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so moral of the story, make sure you measure from your outside wall to your outside wall if you're doing something like that. So once again, ratchet straps to the rescue. This wall is close to level, but not quite. And I want to get things as straight as I can right from the beginning. So a little more. One more click ought to do it. That is bang on perfect. Nail that place. I've already checked the. Check it again though. Bang on right between the lines. So this corner perfectly straight this way and this way. Hopefully the rest of the job goes like that. So you can see what I've got going on here now. I've got these 2x6s all the way down across the top. I don't know what you would call this structural element. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know what it is. But the building is straight. It's plumb. It's level. And these hold it that way. And the ratchet straps I just had in to make sure I needed a little bit more so none of the walls are bowing out on me. Then these are going to hold it all sort of square. Back and forth, it's pretty stable. And that's with zero sheathing on. And so that's what these things did for me. And they'll hold the walls in place. And I need that when I put on the rafters because I'm going to, kind of do one rafter pattern. Then I'm going to cut all the rest of the rafters the exact same. And then they should fit in exactly the same because we want it all straight and level and the same. So the building is pretty stable this way. Back and forth, it moves. That's because I have, no sheathing or anything on it right yet. I'm either going to put some diagonals on or I'm going to put the sheathing on at least one or both of these sides before I go and start putting on roof, their roof structure and the sheeting, especially on the roof, so that everything's kind of held where it's supposed to be when I attach all that stuff. So it's not, moving around, and I'm not swaying up there in the wind either. Because by the time I get this front wall done, there's another 4 feet going on this side. up, and it's a shed roof that comes up. I'm up there quite a ways. I'm not too scared of heights, but you never know. So uh, I'll just get that all stable before I get up there and get it done. I learned my lesson when I built my garage, and that was pretty stable when I was up there doing it. It was a steeper roof than what I'm putting on here, and that was shingles. The lesson I also learned on my garage, it's a 12-12 pitch roof. 12-12 pitch roof, when you put it on shingles, is tough. It's because if it was a super steep roof, like if I was building an A-frame with a twice, really steep roof, then you're at least leaning over like this when you're nailing on shingles and moving shingles. You're not bent over that much. If it's a low pitch roof, it's not hard because you're actually standing on the roof. When you're on a steep roof, you're on roof jacks and boards and things like that. On a 12-12 pitch, it's right in between. So you're standing on roof jacks and boards, but you're leaned way over. It's uncomfortable. I remember it. I did that 6 years ago. Uh, I remember doing that, and it was the most miserable time getting that all done. I was so happy when I was. It wasn't because it was high; it was just because it was so uncomfortable and getting shingles up, which were heavy. So this time, the pitch of this roof, I don't know exactly what it is, but this is 10 feet wide, and it'll be a 4-foot rise. So I guess that's a 410 pitch, and so not 412, but 410 pitch. And the roofing material is interesting. I've never used this before, but I've heard about it. I heard somebody else I knew put it on. They absolutely said that it was the best thing to do. I'll show it to you. So the roof I'm going with is Ondura. They come in these sheets here, and these are actually the ridge caps. It's an asphalt product. Just move it out of the way. But it's tough as nails. And the great part about it is, I think it's 13 pounds a sheet. Each sheet is, I forget how wide, 34.5 inches or something like that. You overlap one corrugation, and they're 80 inches long, so I'm going to have two courses of it, going up the roof, which would be there. But you can stand on it, like it's tough, and it goes on super easy. You have to buy the special Ondura screws come with it, and there's a certain screw pattern you put in. But this should be probably the best roof, to do. And the other reason I chose it was it turned out to be far less money than using steel. I was going to use steel, but for whatever reason, right now it's incredibly expensive, but also a lot harder to work with. This stuff, you can cut it with a utility knife on the underneath. You just score it and cut it. You can bend it. So on the eave part, I guess, on the sides going up, you actually have one corrugation over. You can do it. You don't have to do it this way, but you can have one corrugation over. You can bend it around 90 degrees and attach it that way, instead of using a drip edge or whatever kind of flashing or whatever that is. And it'll stick out a little bit here on the bottom. It's a shed roof, so as it gets to the top, and then that ridge cap is also flexible, so that'll bend over the front part. The back part goes on, obviously, on the sheets, and the front part goes over and then attached across the front. And it's got a lifetime guarantee. So, and it's supposed to stand up to 180-mile-an-hour wind. So it should be here for a good long time. Well, it's the only roof I'm ever going to put on, but I don't anticipate having any issue with it. You don't need any fancy underlayment, or there's no special instructions on what to put underneath. So I'm just putting El Cheapo tar paper, and I know all the contractor and specialist guys and using all the special materials and stuff are going to say, oh, you don't use that stuff. We haven't used that. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with this stuff. It works fine. And it's only there as a second chance. Like, really, I almost don't even need it at all, but with this stuff. But the screws that go in have little neoprene washers on the end of them too, so that seals as soon as you put them in, and they go on the oddly enough, they go on the tall part, not like steel roof where you put it on the flat part, and it just kind of holds it in place. So, but it really wasn't that expensive, relatively speaking. So that, together with the siding, which you will see here in coming up soon, I would assume, is a LP Smart Side. I bought 4x8 panels. They had them on sale. They were seconds. And that stuff there, that's what I put on my garage, way over there in the distance. I put that on 6 years ago-ish. And I used the wrong nails, and I nailed it in with like a hammer and stuff. It wasn't screwed or anything like that. I can see a couple of seams where they're kind of coming. They probably needs a little bit of attention now, but honestly, that stuff has been amazing. And I've had no deterioration whatsoever, and there's no paint on that at all. That's how they came. That's the primer. I've never painted that. That whole entire garage hasn't got a single lick of paint on it, except for those doors in the back that I made. So that's what's going on here. The same thing. And then I am going to paint this one, but it so together with the LP Smart Side and the Ondura roofing, and I've got some decent windows and doors. This is gonna, it should be a building that I shouldn't have to worry about for a good long time. A little bit of my process for building upper half walls. I already got one done, so I went through the process just to make sure how it was going to go. So what I do, I had a slate plan. So I need to mark this thing first at 16 non-centers. I put the top and the bottom together so I can get the marks in exactly the same spot. That's not 16. That's 16. 32. 4 feet. 64. There's a lot of weight on that lumber. 80. And then what I've done is, because each one of these windows has, I need a 40-inch opening for the window that goes in the middle of each one. So I've taken the center part, which is 48, and subtracted 20 on either side, and that's the outside of the the boards that will make the opening. But what I also did was I already pre-cut boards for the headers, and then the top and the bottom plate of where the window goes too, also at 40 inches. So when I place this, you'll see that it's all, I haven't screwed it up because it'll make more sense. So 28 is right here, and I'm going to subtract 3/4 of an inch for the halfway through the width of a 2x4, and 68 3/4 goes there. Okay. Those are going to be all the marks I need, I believe. That guy. So these are half dozen of these 45-inch long 2x4s. 45 plus inch and a half plus inch and a half makes 48. They're approximately, I'm trying to keep the wane side, the waney side of these 2x4s to the inside so that the outside have a nice flush surface. And then my 16, so it should be right around there. And another one there-ish. Something like that. And because I need a 40-inch opening, now I know I've got a spliced one here. I'm going to nail that. I know probably not what you're supposed to do at all, but I'm kind of running out of lumber and I didn't want to cut a roof rafter because then I won't have enough. So that'll give me the perfect spot. Boy, just if you can see that, but that's the kind of, I had to go pick up my original bunch of lumber I got from a smaller independent place. The lumber was pretty good shape. I had to go grab some at the local big box store, and that stamped structural lumber. Hard to believe. For my purposes, it'll do fine for what I'm doing here. I just need this board. And then I need another one somewhere down there. Now I've got two other 45s at the 16 and 80-inch marks, but I'm not going to put them in yet because I need to be able to fit my nailer in to attach all of these. So where's my nailer? One thing I have learned in using these air nailers, I've shot myself in the hand twice with these, by the way. So they're dangerous. You got to pay a lot of attention to what you're doing. And if you hold the trigger and then bump the nailer, that fires a nail. They call it semi-automatic, so you can just go bang, 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 bang. But that can become dangerous. So if you push it in and then pull the trigger, it fires. But because it's a semi-auto, you have to give it a real quick shot with your trigger finger to just fire one. Otherwise, it'll double fire, and that's when the second one doesn't go in all the way, or it misses, or that's how I got shot in the finger this time. So I like doing it this way though, and pulling the trigger because it's a lot more precise, and I get a lot less accidents that way. Just like that. See, in this way, by holding that tight up against that board that has to go across, I should have it in the perfect spot. Okay. All right, my top ones, and I am, again, I want these as square as possible right from the start. The board is bent, so there's a gap. That's the other reason I don't want to just bump fire it. I don't know what the term for that is, but I want to hold it in there nice and tight when I fire. It'd be nice to think that you could just buy lumber that was the right dimensions right from the start, and nice and straight. That never seems to be the case. You know, maybe it's different where in different parts of the country, but that's not the case around here. The guys at the lumberyard, see, there's double fire. The guys at the lumberyard tell me that all the good stuff goes across the border of the States. And we get stuck with the leftovers here. But not much I can do about that. There. And that's perfectly going to fit my headers and stuff. Oops. No. Better nails. I'll be back. My goal for today, I'm not going to put these up because I've got to leave this project for a few days. My other actual job I have to do. So what I want to do is get the building wrapped, put some sheathing on, see how that goes, and then I'm going to put a tarp over the top as a sort of a temporary roof. I mean, there's supposed to be some rain coming the rest of the week, nothing serious, but drier you can keep it, I think, better off you're going to be. Now, the last thing I got to do is measure this part. So I have the correct opening for the window. And again, this is the top edge of where that 2x4 should go. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't actually have to be perfectly level, this one, because I'm going to level the window when I put it in. What I did was I took the window dimensions, which is 39 wide, 32 tall. I've added an inch total. It gives me a ½ inch all the way around to compensate for, stuff that isn't level or straight. I think if I was a better carpenter, I could probably do a little tighter tolerance, like I've heard, leave a 1/4 inch kind of thing. But my intention is to fill this or insulate this eventually as a bunkie. That's why the windows and stuff. And I'll fill those gaps with foam, and that gives a little better, a little easier to work with, and I can shim that out easy enough when I'm installing it. And the last thing I'm going to do, I need to cut 3. So where the 16 on center part is, 3. They're only short. I think they're like 3 1/4 inches or something like that. I'll measure it. Yeah, 3 1/4. I need 3 3 1/4 pieces that I pop in the bottom here. The main reason for that, like I said, the windows actually, the weight isn't going to be on that. The weight is because it's held in by the sides, screwed into the sides, but it's for nailing on the sheathing more than anything. And just overall strength. But the last thing I can do before I do that, put in the remaining upright wall studs. One goes there. And then one at the 80-inch mark. Again, look at the wing. I see why, if you're, a professional carpenter, or you're doing this professionally, why you would want a gas-powered air nailer instead of dragging around, the compressor and air hose and all that kind of stuff. But my God, I priced them. Nope. Not for what I'm doing. I've had this thing for many, many years. It's driven thousands of nails, and I've lent it to people as well who've also used it. And it's worked flawlessly ever since I got it. Part of it fell apart. I had to screw back together and whatnot, but I'm too old to be swinging a hammer on every single one of these nails. Anyway, I won't do this on camera, but I just got to put in those 3 uprights, and this wall is done. I'm going to set it to the side. I have my other one laying up there with the intent I was going to tip it up. But as I said, I think I'm running out of time. So for today, I'm going to tip this up, leave this in here. I'm going to start working on, I'm going to put some supports so it'll hold the sheathing for me. Because again, I'm not one, there's no way of holding it in place and nailing it. So I'm just going to nail in some scraps of lumber along the rim joist, and that'll hold it. I'll make sure those are all level, and then I'll bring over the sheets. I am going to wrap this in Tyvek before I do that. And that's wrapped against the studs. That's kind of a, normally you would put sheathing on and then you put your house wrap on. Then you would, in a lot of cases, put strapping, 1x3 strapping on that, and then put whatever siding you're using on that. In this case, though, this is a really simple, small cabin. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to staple the Tyvek to the wall studs and then nail the sheathing, which is also the siding and everything else, to the wall studs. Just for simplicity. The theory is that you put your house wrap on, and then you put on strapping, and then your siding. And the theory is that if there's condensation inside, that the house wrap doesn't hold the moisture against the inside of your siding, especially if it's wood siding, and rot it out. I don't really think that's going to be an issue. Nothing I'm really going to be concerned about. For a long time, nobody ever did that. They just put on house wrap and then whatever. But I know it's not code, probably. This isn't a code building. I'll put it that way. This isn't built to code. It's close. It's solid. I don't have any concerns myself with it. And it's for me. It's not a house I'm going to live in permanently or anything like that. It's just a small, basically a storage shed at this point, and then eventually some kind of bunkie or camp or whatever you want to call that. So I don't have so many concerns with that. And like I said, I need to get it done, and I need to get it done reasonably quickly and simply and cheaply. So that's what I'm doing. So as you can see, I've moved on to, I put up Tyvek, and that's straight over the studs. There's no sheathing behind that. That was an interesting challenge. Figure, how do you go all the way around with Tyvek and it's just you? The answer is you don't. I rolled out one side, cut it off, and then I got up with a ladder, and I just kind of brought it up and kind of stapled it to the top, and it was flapping out here in the wind. Then I got it down and I stapled it on. And so my next job is to put on the siding, sheathing, all in one product, which you're going to see in a moment. And in order to hold that up while I do this, I've nailed in these scrap blocks that I've had. I kind of took my level and I leveled out where it should go. It's going to go over, you can't see it because of the Tyvek, but it does go past the bottom and past onto the sill plate, because I want to attach it right, from there all the way up. I'll eventually cut off the remaining Tyvek that I don't need. And yeah, so that should do it. So what I've got is, it's LP Smart Side, and I just brought over 4 sheets on my truck because I don't know how far I'm going to get today. I'll be happy to get one side up, to be honest with you. This time it's 4:15, so we'll see how this goes. It's not that bad. I got a pretty good deal on it because it was a B grade. And I seem to recall last time I used this, it seemed heavier, but problem is I got a bit of wind today too. So that's not helping. get it over more or less where I'm going to put it. Down low enough. Lift with your legs. That was easy. No, not really. Now, I'm going to grab a level which I conveniently put next to me. And see, it's not quite, it's pretty close, but it isn't quite there. Boy, it really wants to come out. I've got the wind blowing this way. It kind of blows through the tie vac and creates a little bit of pressure here. So this is going to be interesting. Grab that level again just to see. Yeah, that's not going to be level enough. So I think what I want to do is find something to kind of hold that up. Put it down for a minute. That might do it. Oopsie daisy. Oh yeah, put it on the wrong thing. Smart. Well, that's better. A little tiny bit. Now, stay. I changed the nails. I had 3 1/4 inch regular nails, but now I've got 2 3/8, but they're galvanized. Oh yeah. So far, I shot myself in the finger twice. It's not fun. Yeah, am I on a stud? Yes, I am. There. I'm going to try and nail this up as high as I can. That's about the bottom of the plate of the wall. I kind of feel it through the... Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on there pretty good. Next problem is, I don't know where the studs are in the middle of this thing. So I did do this 16 on center. So my plan is to take my 4-foot, place that on there, put this at 32 and 16, hope for the best. Think it worked. Try that again. Flip it around this time. Well, I think it hit something. I don't know how much I want to hold my arm up in the air, but okay, that wasn't so bad. Now, the next one I'm going to need to kind of line up with this. Now, the LP Smart Side that I've used in the past, it was almost like a tongue and groove kind of deal. It was like an overlap, shiplap kind of deal. And it was the kind that had the grooves in it, so it looks like a board and batten. This is none of those things. This was the cheaper version, I assume. It's just a straight up, it's got wood grain on it, but there's no lines. Doesn't look like paneling or board and batten. And there's also no groove in between. That's why the tie bar, the house wrap tie back becomes important. So another tip, we're always looking for helping hands when we're working by ourselves. Find some scrap wood or something hanging around to keep your nailer handy. I had this up and all straightened up and ready to nail, and nailer not within reach. So once again, it's going to need to do just a little tiny bit. There we go, right there. Now, that's where my two walls meet, so this one should be easy. I tell you what, I'd hate to be doing this with a hammer. That's just so much easier. Seriously, even if you only build one thing, get some kind of a nailer. So much better. Now, I need my ruler again. Seemed to work out last time. 16. 32. Yep. That double nail's me squeezing the trigger too long. I'll learn to stop doing that. Up more up here. Yeah. That'll hold it. I am going to do more nailing. I just want to get these in place. I have so I have all the most of the sheathing up on the outside of the building on the at least the lower level. I haven't done the pony walls up top yet, and obviously there's no roof. But I've got a lot of construction materials that I need to keep close by, and I didn't want to cart stuff back and forth too much. And so my temporary roof solution is this. Took a tarp and nailed it up to the inside, sloping more or less downwards and out the door, because I have no other, I haven't cut out the windows yet. There's not this. That's the only opening. And if I just let the rain come, then it will pool inside, and I don't want that. Not only for the stuff that I have stored inside, but I don't want it sitting on the floor as much as possible. I mean, it's got vapor barrier and taped up and things like that, but you never know. Just to be on the safe side. So this is my solution. I nailed up that tarp on a downward slope, and I'm going to be away from this project for a few days because I have to go to work, obviously, and there's some rain expected in the forecast. So hopefully it'll keep stuff dry enough, and when I get back to it, shouldn't be too much of a mess. I'm a few days later after working, and this is on the weekend now again, where I'm starting to finish up the walls. So I've got all of the sheeting around the whole cabin. I'll take you around just so you see. Tyvek on the inside of it, of course, which I think is going to work out quite well. What I've done is that tarp that you see, that green tarp, covers everything when I'm not working on it. Keeps everything dry, and it seemed to work because we had quite a bit of rain. So essentially that's it. So going inside, you can see going on. I put up the first pony wall. We'll go up the stairs. Stairs, I can say stairs. It's a ladder, of course. I got some pressure treated 2x10s for a platform for me to stand on while I do this. And that way, when I'm done doing this part, those pressure treated 2x10s are going to form part of the front steps. So you can see it's quite a view up here. And of course, you're never going to be this high up in it because that's where the roof goes. I mean, this is just the loft part. But anyway, basically, I've got another identical wall to this one built, and I'm going to shove that up on top of those. I don't know what you call them, stringers, the things that go across. And I'm going to move over and do the exact same thing. I braced and leveled this pony wall, and once I get the rest of the bracing in, it'll become a lot stronger. And of course, we're doing this on a really windy day. I hesitated before I did this because you can see the trees blowing. It's quite breezy up here. You probably hear it in the microphone, but it actually wasn't that bad. So I'll do it once more. You got to be a bit of a trapeze artist in order to get all do this kind of stuff. My ladder in the right spot, and that's going to be dangerous to step on because I got no support there. So I don't know. I might be able to do this. There. Great. So got a helper 2x4 there, helper 2x4 there, my wall. Probably don't need this guy. I'm going to put him. Always be careful where you're stepping. You got support because right now I just have these 2x10s sitting across the boards here. My level, got my nailer. Now I just need the wall, which is over here. Come here. Maybe I'll put this one over here. Out of the way. I'm hoping this is the most difficult part of this build is getting these things up. Well, the wall itself isn't horrible. It's because I'm using 2x4 construction. I don't have any sheeting on or anything to make it heavy yet, but you know, there is a header which makes a little top heavy. I did manage somehow to wrangle the other one up here. Not sure how I did that. But let's see if I move this out of the way. For now. You can tell some people look at me and say, "Oh, you need a safety harness on." Yeah, probably. Geez, how did I do that? I just forget how I even got that over there. I know I just did it. How did I do that? I had the platform over there. I don't know. I don't know what I did. Oh, maybe this is it. Something like that. And I have more leverage. Ah. All right, now I got to get the other side of it. There we go. That's what I want. This one should be easy to line up because I'm just putting it right next to the other one. Oops. A little too far on that one. Somehow, some way, it's actually standing up on its own. I haven't nailed it. And it's pretty much exactly where I need it. Okay, well, I'll take it. Oh, okay. Well, that was easy. Come here, you. Yeah, I'll nail it in place and I'll stabilize it with these 2x4s. And the boards here are 16 on center, and they match up identically with the ones underneath of it. So by switch it over to my 3.5 inch nails, and that'll drive through should catch the little bit of the board underneath. The wind's not blowing it, of course. There's no sheathing on, nothing to catch the wind. There's no sail, so yeah. Now, let's nail these together. Now see, I should not have stepped there. Forgot myself there for a minute. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put one board there. I'll actually start over here. Wow, that is not a straight 2x4. Doesn't matter for our purposes. Not for what I'm doing at the moment. This guy there, I need to tack it there and there, hold it in place, and then make sure this wall is good and level and tacked up here, and then we'll be good and braced here. Now we're just going to get down. Easier said than done. That one's nailed. Alrighty. Need this. I got my other little crappier ladder here. That's all I need to get up there. And all I'm doing is giving a little bit of bracing to the walls up there, other than the nails going through. Although they're fairly sturdy with just the nails holding it. Just want to be sure. And there. And one there. All right. Nail gun up there. I don't know what angle I caught on the camera, but if you can actually see what I'm doing, you'd probably be freaking out right now. Kind of like monkey bars. There. All right. Where are we? Oh my God, that's actually level. Can't be. Well, of course it can't be because the other one's level. One. And over here, how to go from the outside. Oh, wow. Okay. When I say level, I mean plumb. You know what I mean. Cool. My plumbing walls are up. So next steps are going to be get that top plate on the rest of this building. And then I can start with the rafters. Now this part is going to be interesting. You'll see me in a second here as I pop up at the top of the screen. You might hear some lawnmowers in the background too, but that's okay. So I contemplated shoving this wall up, sheathing up the ladder, but doing that and carrying a hair nail at the same time is not going to happen. It's also like, I don't know, it's not hurricane, but holy crap, it's windy today. So this is, it makes things even more interesting. So my plan here is I have half sheets, so 4x4 sheets of the sheathing. And I'm going to try to put it over the side here and at least attach the top. I should probably mark where those that goes. I'll probably figure that out. Anyway, and hopefully get a few nails in down here. Then I'm going to have to go back down around and up that ladder to nail in the bottom of it. And then repeat the process for the sheet on this side of this wall, and then repeat the whole thing over there. So I don't know if this is going to work or not. I got the wind right now kind of behind me. If this thing goes, it goes. Oh, it's like holding a sail. So far, so good. Oh, I had something to. No, I should have done. Whoa! New plan. It's going to be too hard to do this way. But what I need is something to hold it in on the bottom. Whilst I put it in place and nail it. So, be back in a second. Well, stay. Oh crap. Alright. Smarter man would have started these screws before. Find a ladder, but other block. I'm kind of glad for the wind because it definitely keeps the bugs away. Oh yeah, sure. Let me see that again. I'm not even gonna look. The green deck screw in the green grass. Anyway, I'm a little glad for the wind because it does keep the bugs away. It's a nice dry day. It's nice and sunny out, but it's not like today is not blistering hot. Today is it's 1st of June now, so it's like 20 degrees. So that'd be 68 Fahrenheit kind of thing. So it's kind of perfect for that. And the breeze definitely keeps you cool. But at the same time, kind of annoying. Especially this paper rattling around on me. Oh yeah, never see that one again. I'm gonna see. I said the smarter man would have started this when he was on the ground before climbing a ladder and trying to do this on the ladder. And then I went ahead and did. Oh, there's a screw right there. And I went ahead and did exactly the same thing. So you know what? Might take me a couple times to learn, but yeah. I'm getting a workout on the old legs. Down these friggin' ladders. There. Now all I gotta do is neatly slip the sheathing into the cradle I have created. And then attach it with several nails from the top that I can reach. And I can easily go up and nail the bottom of it. If the wind doesn't take it out of my hands here, it should be okay. All right. Let's do this. Knock me off my platform. No, that's not sketchy at all, Hollis. One. No, that isn't one. Here's one. Here's two. Now, the problem is, I gotta slide sideways, and I don't want to do that because of friction. They're pretty tight, and I see my tuck tape sticking out. Damn it. I wonder if I can make it down there before this thing blows into a million smithereens. Probably not. Yeah, it's closer, isn't it? Do I care about the tuck tape sticking out? Kinda. Can I do anything about it? No. I am lined up. I'm probably going to put some trim there anyway. So we're just going to call that waterproofing between the sheeting. Yeah, that's the ticket. Can you tell me if it's lined up? I'm going to say it's lined up. Try not to shoot myself. Jesus. After shooting myself in the hand twice already on this project, I'm a little gun shy. Okay. I'm going to try this again, film this again, because I had a little camera mishap that fell over, and not sure when that actually fell over. So I developed a system for putting up the walls on this tall wall, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I need things to hold the wall. These. I learned from the last time, don't put these in super tight. They've been tight enough though. There. That should be good. That should be good. Another clip in to the death nailer. There we go. You guys can't see this part right now, but all right. Now I just need to get wall behind those two pieces of wood I just screwed in. And nail the top part. Sure, I got this right side up. Make sure it goes in nice and tight to the other piece here. That piece is kind of okay. This piece is in there kind of tight. Oh boy, I wish I could reach down there. And maybe I can. Yes! Like a glove. Oh yeah. Watch where I step here. Yeah, that's definitely the way to do that. Now, try not to shoot myself. Yeah. One. Two. Is that one somewhere good? Yep. I don't like being in front of this thing. Nice. So that should be the next one. Yep. Quiet, you. Again, I'm going to mark where the stud is beside the window. I know when I get down there. There's one right here. Yep. No, I actually kind of missed. There we go. That's right on the stud beside the window. I know where that is. Up here. There on the old arms. Hold that up like that. I got nails down there, so I know where those are. It's a matter of figuring out where all the friggin' studs are. I think I'm good on the top of this one. And my camera's still upright, so that didn't fall over. That's good. Back down the ladder again. I'm pretty glad I've only got one of these kind of walls to do. One side, anyway. Basically. Come on. Now, Now, where was I? Ah, yes. One there. One there. 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 Use my balance. Ladder's a little sketchy. Now, let's see if I can get the window frame. Where's that? I think it's must be right there. Yep. Approximately, probably somewhere around there. Yeah. We call that good. Yes. That's the last pony wall sheathing. Now I just put my top plate on all the framing, and that's it for walls section. There is, of course, going to be the gable ends up here, so top of that to down where the rafter is, but I do that after I get the rafters and roof sheathings and stuff like that up. And the only reason I need to put anything up there is to hold more siding sheathing. But yeah, feels good to get that part done.